There we go. There we go. There we go. Good morning, you guys. Good afternoon. Feeling a little bit like Teddy Riley right now uh, because we're having a little bit of connectivity things, but we're going to get this thing on and popping really soon. I want to thank those who logged in on last night. Just give us a minute. This is a bit like Teddy Riley, and we will have Malcolm on in just a minute. We have some connectivity issues, but this is gonna go down very well today, so I'm excited for this. If you did not have a chance to ask your questions, we do have a list of them, and so definitely feel free to drop them in the questions. So if you can, click the little question box, feel free to drop them in within the next few minutes or two. Just gonna let folk come online, and Malcolm will be here soon too. Then we will get this thing rolling with the Ask Me Anything. So it's the first time that we've done it. It's a big deal. What we're doing here is, for those who don't know, and forgive me, I'm gonna look at my phone because I'm just to make sure that Malcolm gets in, is that we are really big at Freeman Capital on making things accessible. And one part of that is around education. And so the highest level of financial planning designation in the country is called a certified financial planner. If you were to just Google this on Google, you would see that the average rate for their time is $235 per hour. They are trained on virtually every aspect of personal finance and wealth building and building generational wealth, from budgeting to estate planning, and very soon one of our own, Malcolm Ethridge, who is a Emmy award winner, will be joining us very soon. Just looking for him to come online. So if you have questions around anything personal finance related, please feel free. Oh, thank you for the shout out there. Please feel free to drop them in the comment box, and once Malcolm gets online, we will certainly jump right in, and then want to answer your questions. So anything that is related to your personal finance, to wealth building, to investing, how do you get set up, specific questions. We do have a list of many that were pre-submitted, but we'll cover those for those who can jump on in and say them. So give us a quick second. I'm just gonna see where my man is, and then we will get this thing on the road. Thank you. I hope everyone is having a beautiful day today, man. Here it's a little rainy, but it's still beautiful, man. And I hope that you all are doing well also. So I thank you guys for standing by for just a second. I should have some music playing. So has anyone been watching the markets today? Is there anything that you all are seeing out there that, if you haven't watched the markets or not even familiar with it, you can feel free to get it going there as well if you have any questions. East Coast, VA. That's what I'm talking about. All right, I'm actually from Maryland, so I'm happy to be down here in North Carolina, though. Where else are people coming in from? Let me see here. Let's see where our man is. Thank you guys for being patient. All right, perfect. There he is. All right, Malcolm, if you can just request to join, we will get this thing going. And any second, North Carolina, we will get the show on the road. North Carolina. All right, perfect. So Malcolm, you can just accept. We will get the show popping, and I thank you all for standing by. All right, there we go. Malcolm, what's
What's
going
up,
on,
man?
brother?
How are you?
Hey, man. I just want to let y'all know this is not Malcolm's fault that he was late. I take full responsibility, so I don't want no shade on him at all.
You
All
saying
right,
that because
so
you knew I was going to throw you
Malcolm,
under the
I
bus?
I know you were gonna throw me under the bus so hard, bro. I had to do it first, but I knew that you were gonna come from me. All right, so first, Malcolm, man, let's just do a quick introduction. I already have set it up, communicated that this is not normal. Like, most of the time, CFPs aren't out here just giving away great education for, on Instagram for like nothing. Like, your time is very valuable. You've done all this experience. speak to a little bit about what you have done, what brought you to where you are, and then we're going to go right into these questions.
Sure. So I'm a certified financial planner, been in the industry almost a decade now, which is crazy to me to even say that, considering the average advisor starting out in the business probably lasts about 2.5 to 3 years. The average black advisor entering the business usually.
I was going to talk
Yeah,
about the black stuff too, but yeah.
I forgot that key detail because the average white advisor does this job for like 40 years and has a great life.
Mm.
So it's a little bit different. But yeah, so been in the business for a minute. My specialization, if you will, the group that I work with primarily is senior managers and executives in tech, some small business owners in tech as well. But that's not to say that, the questions that I'm sure we'll get, I'm not versed in enough to answer to. I'm sure there's probably some pretty broad questions that folks have out there.
Yep. No, and I thank you for that. Oops, my light just went out, but I think we're still good. So yeah, Mal, can you flip it, bro? Your camera, or is it
Nah, I
unflippable?
got it. It's on a.
I appreciate it. The other way. Yeah, so I will be clowning you later, Teddy Riley, and I want you to know that that's going to go down in our next meeting. Okay, it's going to go down. All right. While you are flipping it, so one more
Man,
way
you call me Teddy Riley. I'm not that.
is there we go. We're in here. We're in here now. Is that so? Okay, so at Freeman Capital, what we are doing is that we are making it accessible and easy to talk and work with some of the best financial professionals in the country. The first question that we have, which came from Powell, so we thank you for that, was how can I get started with little money? It's a big question. A lot of folk have that same mentality. Malcolm, like, just how can folks get going when they feel like they have so little?
Quite frankly, if you're talking about having so little money, you probably don't need to be investing in the first place. I know that's not what people typically want to hear, but realistically, you shouldn't be investing anything that you're actually going to need to put your hands on within 12 months or less. So if you're talking
Mm-hmm.
really little money that makes a significant difference, you shouldn't be talking about investing with it anyway. You don't want to be gambling with your rent money. Excuse me. But if you're talking little money as in like beyond, your your monthly budget, a really good way to
Mm-hmm.
get started investing is indexing. So like the S&P 500 index holds 500 of the largest companies around the world. Um, Most of them based in the United States, but that gives you a really broad slice of all of the investing world out there in general. And if you want to take it a step beyond that and own more of the market than the S&P 500, Vanguard has a total stock market index fund that I think owns like 3,200 publicly traded companies, which is basically everything that's not a penny stock. So those are two really
Mm.
easy ways to get started investing, and you can just systematically buy a share or two every time you get a few dollars that you want to throw
Mm-hmm.
into the market.
So then just to kind of summarize is that when you want to start investing, before you even do that, you want to make sure that you're good. You want to make sure that the money that you want to invest, you won't have to pull out for a emergency fund or for, the car breaking down or because you want to buy something. And so it really is about setting up a mentality of how do I allocate my investing money and my life money. And then you're saying that for the investing money, that there are ways that you can buy, basically diversify and own a whole bunch of different stocks by just buying what's called an index fund,
Yeah.
and that's a great way to
So
just get
think about
started.
your investment
Okay.
account as like your savings account on steroids. So it's the money you're not planning on touching anytime soon, but rather than putting it in a savings account and earning 0.5% or whatever at best, it's on steroids a little bit.
So I shouldn't try to get into investing right now because there is a company that I think is going to pop and I can flip my cash really soon. Is that basically what you're saying? It's
That's a
not a good
hundred
look.
percent what I'm saying. You'll get burned gambling your rent money on Tesla.
All right, man. And so one thing that we do at Freeman, and I saw a question pop up. Please feel free to keep them coming. Something that we do at Freeman is that we want to help you guys increase your net worth. And a big way to do that, yes, investing helps. But another big way to increase your net worth is to take care, as someone was saying here in the chat, is to take care of your debts. And so we have folk come to us and they're ready to invest, but they have a credit card that, or a debt that might be 15-20% in interest. Always we recommend find ways to take care of that debt first. It's going to make you feel better, and you're going to end up more wealthy.
So
as
two
well.
things on that real
Going
quick.
to the next.
Just knowing
Yeah,
the
course,
difference between productive debt and unproductive debt.
Oh, come on, teach.
Productive debt is things like houses that grow in value over time, student loans even though they probably don't feel productive. Your student loans went toward the thing that helped you command the higher level income that you're able to command, I hope, with your bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, whatever you have. So you're in a much better financial position now than you would have been had you not gotten that education. Those things are all productive debt. Unproductive debt is debt that's tied to an intangible. So credit cards, there's nothing supporting your credit card debt. So it's unproductive because it's not doing anything for you except allowing you to consume. So paying off that unproductive debt before trying to take on any investment related stuff is going to guarantee you a rate of return that you can't get in the market. So as Calvin said, if you've got a double-digit credit card APR, say you've got a 15% variable rate on your credit card, you paying off that credit card has just guaranteed you a 15% rate of return versus investing in the stock market and getting God knows what the return will look like, whether it's positive or negative.
Yep. That is spot on. And so, folks, if you like these types of convos, jump on our free email newsletter. Folks who are on our newsletter got a chance to submit their questions first. All right, so the next question, and this is a doozy here. So he's like, hey, my mom has no retirement savings due to bad luck in planning. I am just about 30, and I just, left New York because of, COVID, and, making about $60K a year with like $40K in student loan debt. I'm trying to figure out what should I do? Like, I have to take care of my mom. Should I plan for myself? Like, this is a real situation that a lot of us have to deal with, where we're trying to establish ourselves and take care of our loved ones. And it impacts all of like Black generational wealth, but I'll save that for another point. But just in terms of these types of situations where you have someone who is trying to progress early on in their career, what type of general feedback do you have for someone who's trying to balance that with taking care of their family as well?
So everybody's family dynamics are different. Those heartstrings get pulled at in a bunch of different directions, especially if you're like the most successful family member that people know. But the advice I always give people is that when you get on a plane and they start walking through the process of, if this plane were to go down, here's what we want you to know. One of the very first things they tell you is put your own oxygen mask on first. And the reason they tell you that is because if this plane goes down and you can't breathe, then you're useless to the person next to you. So to answer that question a little more directly, I would say worry about taking care of your own household first, your own personal finances first. And then if there's some excess to be able to help out the people around you, then you're talking about ways that you can help, make that burden a little less heavy for them. Because, ultimately, maybe it's the thing where your mom gets a little bit up there in age and you're talking about her living with you, for example, as a way for you to help support her. But you're more likely to have the housing situation taken care of by taking care of your own financial needs first and foremost, making sure that your debt is paid off, that $40,000 you're talking about, making sure that you're raising your salary so that you can afford that house to help move her into, and that sort of stuff. So you gotta take care of yourself first. Otherwise, you're of no use to the people around you.
And if it's hard to have that conversation, I know of some clients who have done this. They have made us the bad guy. It's like, hey, I'm sorry, Mom, but I was talking to my planner, and my planner said that I just can't do it right now. So like, you can use a planner as a scapegoat to help you stay 100%. On track as well. All right. Next up, and again, if you have a if you have a question, drop it in the chat box, just or hit the little question thing. We'll try and get to you. Those who were on our email list, they submitted their questions first, and so you need to get on the list. You get access to this type of stuff all of the time. Next question. All right, so this is a tax question. I understand that I can document rent as income, but I'm using that rent to pay my mortgage. Can you deduct mortgage on a Schedule E? And what are your thoughts on tax resolution? This is a very niche question, so feel free to generalize it a little bit, and please explain what is a Schedule E for folks who might not know, tax law that
Yeah,
well.
so I'm assuming this person is talking about rental real estate that they
Of course,
want to be able to deduct. So the rent counts as income toward you as a business owner. You own a business, which is the real estate. So that's why you're filling out a Schedule E for that rental real estate. But you're able to deduct the mortgage interest that you've paid on behalf of that rental property. So if you have a rental property, it's a $250,000 mortgage, and you've got, I don't know, $5,000 or something, just making up a number, mortgage interest that you're paying every year. You're able to deduct that that mortgage interest expense against the rent that you're collecting each year that goes toward your income. You're also supposed to be writing off any expenses related to like cleaning the property, managing the property, any utilities and all that kind of crap that you've got to pay. Depreciation expenses that go along with owning the property. So all those kind of things go into offsetting the income that you're collecting from owning that rental property, to the point that if it's not, net negative return to you, you're probably doing something wrong on your taxes. And I would suggest hiring like an enrolled agent or a CPA to actually dig in and do your taxes for you. I'm assuming this person is self-preparing, and that's part of the problem. There's not really good AI built into the Intuit system on TurboTax for things like rental real estate to capture all of those deductions that are available to you.
So I have to break this down because this is big. Like, aside from what he just said, right? So, and yes, I'm passionate about this, right? But like, this type of advice, like what we're doing at Freeman Capital is that you can talk about a budget, a student loan, taxes, all with one call. You have a business, you have real estate. This is unheard of. Like, if people are trying to find ways to grow and build their wealth and need a expert to provide them advice, folks like Malcolm are here to get that done. All right, next question around this is another business question. We have folks who are about their business. Does it make sense to form a LLC if the annual income is under $50,000? I am currently a sole proprietor and my income is $50,000 right now, but I will make more money in the future. Does it even make sense for me to convert this sole prop into a LLC?
So the formation of the business isn't really tied to the amount of income that you're making. So your legal entity structure, whether you're an LLC or an S corporation or C corporation or partnership or whatever else is available to you, that's really based on your legal liability and the type of work that you're going to be doing, not so much how much income you make. Because you could be a sole proprietor and just file a Schedule SE on your tax return every year with $1 million of income as a contractor, and the IRS is happy, you're happy, you paid your taxes, and you never had to pay anybody to file LLC, formation agreement paperwork and such for you. But if you're a person who does work that has a level of exposure to it that you don't want to be personally liable for, that's the whole point of forming an LLC. So the limited liability corporation structure is more about protecting you and your personal assets versus just a certain dollar amount that you hit. That means that you need to be structured a certain way.
I love these questions, man. This is fire. Malcolm, I appreciate you coming on here today, man. All right. Next question now. This is a retirement focus. Now, I hope y'all peep this, right? See, these CFPs are going from budget to insurance, I mean, to taxes, to LLCs, and now to
Putting
retirement. All
my
right. Discussing.
expensive A&T and
Go,
Georgetown education to use, man.
hey, Aggie Pride, baby. Aggie Pride. All right. So, due to the tax implications when switching of 403B funds from a previous employer to a Roth IRA, is there a method to reduce the taxes so that they won't be all charged when first transferred when I move them from a Roth or to another? So there's a couple things that I want you to do if you can. Please break down so that everyone's on the same page. What is a 403B? What's a Roth IRA? And then what is this guy or lady actually trying to
I
do?
think she's confusing a lot of terminology that doesn't actually go together in that question. If you read it verbatim, that the question was
That's pretty close.
upside down. So a 403B is a company-sponsored retirement plan that allows you to contribute pre-tax to it the exact same way a 401k does, similar to a 457 or a 401a or whatever, depending on the company structure where you work. So the money going into a 403B is pre-tax, which means that if you were to leave that job and want to roll it out of that job's plan, you're going to roll it into a traditional IRA, not a Roth IRA. A traditional IRA is also funded with pre-tax money. And so it's a place where until you go to draw those funds in retirement as an older person, you're not paying any taxes on the growth in that account. But
So to jump in for a second, real quick, a IRA is a pre-tax retirement account.
correct, yep.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Roth
Go on, keep
IRA
going.
is an after-tax retirement account, which means you've already paid taxes on the income before you put it into the account. So you wouldn't roll a 403B, which is pre-tax, into a Roth IRA, which is after-tax, because those two are apples and oranges. So that's why I say I think this person is confusing the terminology that they're using. But you should be able to roll that 403B into a traditional IRA, which doesn't have any tax
Pre-tax to
implications to
pre-tax.
it. All you've got to do is report to the IRS that, you know, the money went from this place, landed in this place, and not a single dollar was taken out and spent on anything frivolous like a trip to
Bingo. Yeah, so again, folks, because we're coming up on end of time and we still got more questions, we're going to try and get through them all. If folks have questions after this on their personal situations and you don't feel comfortable dropping them, you can come to freemancapital.co. That's freemancapital.co, and you can set up your own call to have a one-on-one chat with a planner as well. All right, the next question is, and actually because of our time, it's going to be our last one. What are good options for growing wealth after you are debt-free, you've bought some property, you've maxed out your 401k, you have a health emergency savings? The person is crushing it. Okay, let's just pause for the cough. Like, they're doing very well in life. What do you think about investment properties, brokerage accounts, or things to consider to build more wealth?
So I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that this person listed all of those other things because they've already been doing research and attended these kind of Instagram live sessions. And those are the things that we normally would give you as far as what you need to be doing.
Right.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that they don't want that advice. And that's the reason they said, besides these things that you guys always say to do, what else can I be doing? Yeah. So I'll say, let's assume that they have actually checked all those boxes, even though I'm honestly skeptical. Beyond that, investing in, online brokerage account at a place like Robinhood or Schwab or Fidelity or whatever is not a bad idea. And like I mentioned before, a great way to get started doing that is to just buy index funds that own the larger investment world out there. And the reason you want to do that is because it limits your exposure to the downside. So it's not sexy, it's not exciting to say I own the S&P 500 index, but your first $5,000, $10,000 in the market, you want to have a little bit more stability than going and buying Apple, for example, which at its height this year was up to like 130 something a share. I don't remember exactly what it was, but now it's down to like 105, 108, something like that. So if you had just bought in on Apple Mania a month ago, you would have lost like 30% of your investment in less than a month because
Yep.
you're following the
Yep.
trends and the excitement around things like Apple and Tesla and
Yep.
whatever else. So I say that to say buying the S&P 500 index, even though it's not exciting, limits your exposure to the downside and keeps you from making those kind of investing mistakes where you're following what everybody else is doing before you ever even get a chance to really get in and understand what
Mm-hmm.
investing is doing and what a real expectation for your return should be.
That sounds great. And we are coming up on the end of this session. I am sorry that we weren't able to get to even all of the questions that people emailed, but for those who are on our email list and who did submit a question, we will be following up with you to answer your question one-on-one. That is the benefit of being on our free email list at freemancapital.co. For those who did pop a question into here, I ask you to come on to freemancapital.co. There is a chat bot right there. You can chat with a member of our team and set up a one-on-one call as well as see how we can help you out. It is our mission to close the racial wealth gap, to help our community and our users and our family grow and build their wealth. And we want to help you do that. Malcolm, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last closing comments or questions before we wrap this thing up and we keep this thing moving?
Nah, man. I think you hit it. I'll just say for the people that didn't get a chance to ask a question and you have something else to follow up, I'll send you Calvin's personal cell phone number. He very much prefers calls after midnight. And
Exactly. Please.
nah, man, this was good. This was good.
Nah, man, I thank you for it. The whole team, as you all can tell, we are passionate about trying to help you all grow and build your wealth. Thank you for rocking with us. Come on to freemancapital.co. We'll keep these convos moving. You all have a great day. Stay safe out here, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.